On this week's weekly video fishing forecast, we check out the morning topwater action with News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Ohlen. I have the latest action from the beach as well, and our correspondents checking from around the island, all here at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Don't forget, the Fisherman magazine's digital edition comes out your way every Monday morning with more reports and great articles. And of course, with a subscription, you can be part of the Dreamboat Contest and Coastal Kayak Clash. And it's just $30 for the year, no brainer. This past weekend, the memorial for senior editor Fred Galfaro took place at Robert Moses State Park. Hundreds showed up to honor Fred from the fishing community. Those who spoke all told nothing but the truth. I was honored to speak and attend myself. Hearing these stories about Fred put a great smile on my face, and it just makes me more grateful to even know him. Just a reminder that our reports are now indexed on YouTube, so now you can skip right to the area of interest by clicking on the link on YouTube in the description. I had the chance to fish for topwater action with News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Ohlen, but first let's check out the weather for the weekend. Rich?
Hey, thanks, Matt. Let's check that weekend forecast, see what's going on. You can always check your favorite apps, favorite websites, and whatever tools you have as we get closer. This will be a general overview. And before we do that, I'm going to show you some cool stuff here. We got some pretty decent back bay schoolie bass action I've been seeing for the last several weeks, actually. Southwest corner, Nassau County. Back bay is doing very well. Top of the tide, Little Missouri, top water plugs and poppers been doing pretty well with these fish between 20 and 27, 28 inches, mixed in some cocktail blues. So, for a few hours, you can have some fun. Stay tuned here. We'll have actually some video. I was able to get out with Tim and Matt this week, and we had some fun on some of those back bay schoolies and bluefish. So let's check the weather and see what we got going on this weekend, if we can maybe get some of that fishing in. It's going to be a little tough, though. The wind's going to be honking from the east. So water temps in the 60s came down a bit. A 4 to 8, 8 to 12 is going to set up in the ocean. This will not be the great weekend ocean fishing deal. It's going to be probably unsafe out there, probably small craft advisories with that persistent east breeze into Sunday. This is all across the island. Even the sound's going to be riled up this weekend. Look at some of the wave heights coming in. So east wind 15 to 25, and probably not a ton of rain, maybe some spritzes. I think if anything maybe on Sunday, but just not going to be the nicest of weekends. We've had a lot of nice weekends in the past. This will not be one of them in terms of ocean condition, and even on the sound, it's going to be a little bit rough. High tides early afternoon, North Shore, South Shore for the mid-morning. Also kind of cool with the 60s here with that east wind Saturday. Also into Sunday. Let's check the Guru, confirming that, it's going to be kind of a tough weekend. There's Saturday. Look at all this east here, 15, 25, and just coming in there. You've got waves 4 to 6, 4 to 8 feet, and not much better on Sunday. Still you got that persistent east wind and pretty rough seas. So make the best of it. Be very safe this weekend. Have a great weekend. Matt, back to you.
Now let's check in with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk. Tim.
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings everybody from Montauk. Another spectacular week out here. Things are definitely kicking in for the fall. Today we had a really nice bust of bass boiling on the surface up on the north side, close enough for surf casters to get in there and do some casting. Also got a couple reports, a couple guys getting some nice fish out of the surf over the last couple days. So things are definitely starting to change. Cooler weather is definitely starting to turn the fish on. Light tackle fly fishing, like I said, I got some nice bass pictures. Still a couple false albacore around. Not thick and hot, but they're definitely here to get. A lot of bluefish, some big gators. On the local level, fluke and end last week. Everybody finished strong. I want to give a good shout out to TJ Wallace, who won our local kids fluke tournament. Couple other kids did really well, so I have to say thank you to that. Everybody's gearing up for sea bass. Other charter boats, they're doing pretty good with the slot fish. They're working the elbow, the north rip, a couple of the other rips, and these guys are pulling up some nice quality fish. They get their limit as striped bass, then they bang out some sea bass, and then probably in another couple of weeks we'll be getting some nice blackfish. Offshore report. Not too many guys have been going to the canyon, but there's definitely a lot of action a little bit closer in. Little Steven Forsberg on the 5-star. He's been limiting out on all of his yellowfin for all of his trips since the end of August. He's totally booked for the rest of the season. He does have more trips going, but there are some available slots on the Star, which is currently out fishing now. Same thing. The Star's been going out. They've been doing really good. So if you want to get your tuna bite in, that's a good way to go. Other than that, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that showed up for the Castoverfest Fly Fishing Demo Day at the Lake Club. We had a pretty good turnout, about 60-something people. Good raffle prizes given away, and a lot of people tried some nice quality fly rods. All right, everybody. Till next week, we'll see you then.
From Shinnecock, let's check in with Mike Dean with all the news from the East End.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Well, fishing is getting a little bit better out here. I have been able to get a couple of bass off the beach literally a couple hours ago, which was kind of nice. Oddly enough, the bite kind of died going into sunset when usually it's good. It was right at the beginning of incoming, like 26, 27-inch fish. One was like really fat. I had about 5 altogether, like a couple of 5-pound bluefish, a couple of smaller bluefish, pretty much all on a bucktail. Threw a couple of other things when the bite died down a little bit, didn't have any luck, tried some surface stuff, and it was a 1.5 ounce bucktail with a curly tail fat cow jig strip trailer on it. So that was definitely cool. Yesterday was in Mauritius Inlet drifting spots with a buddy of mine. Had a slot, lost a nice fish, had a couple other like 26, 27-inch fish. A lot of people that were casting off of the west side of Mauritius that believe that access was closed earlier in the week because of the higher tides, but looks like a pretty regular pick of some bass and more blues than bass. But we have this new moon when this comes out on tomorrow night on Friday. Lower temps, it's all kind of coming together, so definitely worth putting some time in. The albies have been a big disappointment. I'm going with some buddies tomorrow to give it a try, or today once you guys see this, and hunt around and kind of see what's out there. A lot of bait in the water, still seeing mullet in the back bay, still some fish in those marshy areas on top water stuff, and the skinny water. Sea bass bite seems to be pretty good. Also, some cod has been pretty good on some of the wrecks and reefs. Bigger story has been the yellowfin bite at Quambra. My buddy Mike Monet was out there today, and they had action all day long. Had this approximately a little over 90-pound Allison. They were chunking and trolling. They got the bigger fish on the chunk, but they had action on the troll. They found some draggers, followed them around. Seems to be a little bit south of Quambra is where the fleet was focusing, but just really, between the bluefin bite off of Rockaway still going on, and now this yellowfin bite, just really, really nice run for offshore. So this weekend, even though Saturday looks like it's going to be a little too windy for any of the boats to get out, should be pushing some bait around this new moon. So be ready, willing, and able to get out there and catch some fish. Okay, enjoy the weekend. I'll talk to you next week. Back to you, Matt.
Starting east to west on the beach, I am hearing Montauk got away with fish during the week. The south side surrounding fish up to 34 pounds. That 34-pounder belonged to Brendan Sorsil, who now holds the top spot on the Montauk Surf Masters tournament. The north side of the point also saw some day blitzes, and I even heard the fish came in casting range from a reliable boat source. At Mid-Island, Southampton sand beaches gave up bass into the mid-20s, while the inlets had a pick of stripers from slots to oversized fish with the occasional albie blitz. North Shore action from Rocky Point going east is seeing a good after-bite dark of bass with possibility of morning topwater action. Smaller blues have been mixed in too. Down Island blues and weakfish were reported inside the Fire Island area. The breezy jetty also saw some albie action during the week. Additionally, from the surf, the urban angler Raul Ortiz and his buddy have been into the weakfish heavy in the western South Shore bays. They've also been doubling up for entire tides. If you're looking to bend the rod this weekend, we have just a bite for you in the western South Shore back bays with schoolies and bluefish on light tackle. I join News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Ohlen. If the conditions aren't happening up front, check out the back, and we're using light tackle. Right here I'm using a Yozuri topwater spook. Light tackle St. Croix rod. I have 10-pound braid on here as well. A lot of fun. Give it a shot. Big part of the technique that we're using today was light tackle, top water, spooks, and poppers. Worked along these sod banks in these western South Shore bays. It's really similar to freshwater fishing in a way, where you cast along these sod banks and you work this plug back toward you, and you look for disturbances on this glass like water, and you cast toward it, and these fish, they just destroy these plugs once they see them, and it's really fun and exciting to see these fish come up on these plugs and hit them in this calm water like this. Part of the fun about this type of fishing is the explosions that they do cause from hitting these plugs, and sometimes they knock the plugs right out of the water and they'll just chase them hit after hit. You're not going to see a lot of big fish in this type of fishing, but the fishing most of the time you will see a lot of small fish, and it will be a mix between cocktail bluefish and schoolies.
Next time.
One thing Rich likes to do when he does this type of fishing is fish the incoming tide. The great thing about this type of fishing as well is that you don't need a lot of time to do it. A couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the evening. You really don't have to take a big chunk of your day to get it done. It's convenient, easy, and fun.
This is just a pretty standard Missouri plug. It's a small, probably about a 2 or 3 inch, little top water plug, popping plug. What I usually do is I take the, the stock hooks off, and I'll put the VMCs or anything, stronger on there. I'll put a treble on the front and a single on the back. This way, you kind of reduce the fish mortality if they suck it down. This way you can, kind of save them instead of having 2 trebles stuck in their throat. But good technique. These work very, very well.
A neat thing about this kind of fishing is you just need some sort of access spot to really fish it. If you do have a boat, that's great, but if you have a kayak as well, you could access these spots just as easily and really sneak up on these fish in a stealthy-like manner. With our Fly in Freshwater report, we have Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Here I'm at. I'm out at Castober, out in Montauk this weekend. It's been really good as far as the turnout. The fishing's been tough. I did get out on the surf with my using the surf rod. My wife and I were out casting and fishing out here. It's been a little tough, a little windy, but we're having a great time. But it is Montauk. As far as the South Shore goes, I'm still hearing about the tuna out on the reefs, very close to shore. Captain John McMurray and his crew have been doing very well. I've also been hearing from another Captain Brian out of East Rockaway. He's doing well. Fishing around the bridges, stripers. I personally went out onto, I was out on the North Fork fishing some of the salt ponds. Nothing big, but stripers, 30 stripers, all in the age size of I would say 16, 17 inches. It stretched a little bit, but it was a great time. Now, as far as the freshwater goes, there again, I've been fishing the Connecticut. Guys are catching fish. It's been really good. It's been, there again, dry flies are still the thing, and big dry flies. As far as the ponds, I'm hearing the ponds, all the weeds are starting to die down, so it's a little bit easier to fly fish. It's been doing very well that way. As far as upstate, rivers are dropped. Housatonic is fishing well. Farmington is fishing well. But they're in that full mode. They're getting cool mornings. As far as anything goes, get out there now, because it is going to be early winter. Tight lines, everybody.
From the Fire Island and Great South Bay area, let's check in with Captain Al Lorenzetti.
Hey, Matt. Fire Island report. Fishing is red hot offshore and pretty good inshore. Tuna bite by the Coimbra and by the Rockaways for bluefin, yellowfin at the Coimbra, bluefin by the Rockaways, and the canyons are all hot. Lots of mahi around. Anytime you find something floating in the ocean, there's probably mahi under it. Inshore fishing, still a trickle of weak fish being caught. A lot of triggerfish around right now, and some striped bass showing up as well, and of course sea bass on the offshore wrecks when you can get to it. Weather looks good for Friday, a little shaky on the weekend, but we'll see what happens with that, Matt. So pretty good fishing around, and I'll keep you posted and stay in touch. Talk to you next week.
Up in Northport, we have Mark McGowan from Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle.
Hey, glad to be back with the reports this week. Listen, if you are not there, you're square. This has been such a great bite. You're telling us I see all this bait. I hear you talk about this bait and there's no fish underneath them. You're in the wrong spot. You must move, because trust me, on the lowest tides, there has been some fantastic bites with the bluefish. There's been wonderful bites with the striped bass, and a lot's really happened. You got to get out there. Trust me, whether it's on the boat or the beach, the different bites going on, but in close, very low tides is pushing out this tremendous amount of bait is getting corralled up, and the fish are using that always, their predator fish, to hit it. If you're on the boat, stick to those ledges. The fish are going to hang out on the ledges where these rips join up. If you're in the position where you see, like with the new moon, sometimes the current doesn't get ripped in outside areas in the sound. You move to an area where you're going to have like outcrops of rocks, middle ground type areas, high spots like 11B where you're looking for compressed water that's going to make the tide run. If the tide is not running, you're in the wrong spot. Water temps is still hanging around 69 degrees. There are bait everywhere, really huge pods of adult bunker everywhere, so thick at times you feel like you could walk across them. The peanut bunker, it's the same thing, but the great thing about it is there's definitely fish on them. Listen, if you keep thinking to yourself, listen, I see all this bunker but there's no fish in it, you're in the wrong spot. You've got to move, because trust me, the bite this week has been fantastic. I don't see it changing going right into this week. The currents are getting better. We have cloud coverage galore. The water temps have been dropping down, even though we're at 69. You're going to see these little drops each night. Right now with this low cloud coverage, it's insulating the water. That's why we're starting to see the fog in some areas. Look for that cool night where all of a sudden this fog is going to lift. It's going to be a clear night. Water temps are going to drop. You're going to have fog across the water. This bite, it's unreal. Listen, live eels, rigged eels, swimmers, bucktails. The fish have moved into our areas where the marshes are very active with life, and there's so much going on. If you're on the boat, the jig bite's fantastic. Get on one of your local for hire boats. You know what I'm saying? This is a great time to get out. Enjoy yourself. And until next week, I bid you peace. Tight lines.
From Oceanside, we have Captain Joey Leggio.
Hey, Matt, thanks a lot. So let's do the reports out of the Debsville area. Today we have our guest correspondent, Nicholas, with us. Hi, Nick. Nikki just turned 8 months yesterday, so happy birthday to little Nicholas. Anyway, on to the reports. So first I want to congratulate my friend Kevin Sheehan. Kevin actually, on the final day of the fluke season, here and out to the east, he went east of the Jones Inlet area. And him and his buddy Kirk decided, let's try to fluke on the final day, see how we do from the shore. They got up on the beach to, I guess, a jetty area. I don't know the exact location. Of course, they're not going to disclose that. And the two of them limit out on fluke on their final day. They had their 8 keepers. All right, now back to the reports. So the Reynolds Channel area right now is the peanut bunker all in the back bays behind my house. And every night I'm seeing these peanut bunker get smashed by the blues and the bass. If you want to catch them right there, you can. It's as simple as throwing a cast net, getting yourself some peanuts, or even using a tiny small snag or a small treble, rehooking them through the nostrils or through the back and sending them back out. And you're going to catch, small bluefish, small bass. Also, another thing you can do is you can grab those peanuts, throw them in a live well, take them out at nighttime to the dock lines. If you can find those lights, cast the peanuts onto that, you'll catch the bass as well. Also, any of the shadows off the bridges, do the same thing. If there's any small bass and blues in there, you're going to get hit. You can also send them down to the bottom as well with these peanut bunker and catch the fish. But the bridges, the dock lines, everything's where it should be this time of the year. The full bite's coming in full swing. Just chum them up, whether you chum on the top, the bottom. You're going to catch your stripers, you're going to catch your bluefish. There's still a ton of little baby sea bass on that bridge. And you'll also notice you get those little beak bites from the small blowfish that are on the bridge as well. And also the dock lines. For the ocean runs, I did a run on Saturday, which, by the way, the weather was completely not what it was supposed to be. Had a young kid on the boat, and it was pretty bad. I mean, they said it was supposed to be like flat calm, and you were talking like a 3-foot snot, real tight chop. It was bad. But we shot over to the AB Reef, and seems like that bite's slowing down. Those bigger sea bass definitely moved off into those deeper waters. But we started picking away, and part of it, I'm sure, was the swell. I noticed with a big swell, a lot of times that bottom will get turned up, and shut that bite down. So it wasn't the best. But we fished for a little bit, and we did manage, to catch dinner. We had green bonita, we had some sea bass, and mostly the porgies, and also a lot of bluefish too. Were on the structure. But further offshore, I'm sure you could still get those bigger sea bass, but you probably have to run in 100+ foot depths now to get those, those real nice 3 to 4 pound sea bass. On the tuna grounds to the west, I've still been hearing some fish being caught off the Rockaways and stuff. I have not personally got out there much, but from what I'm hearing and seeing, there's still a couple to be had. And to the east, actually, the canyon runner was on a nice bite, and Joe Faust sent me a cool video of the fish swarming all under the boat, the yellowfin tuna. So you check that video out. It was really cool, but thank you for that, Joe. It was a pretty cool video. Other than the ocean, I'm sure I'm just waiting to hear now. I saw Junior going out today. He had his spoons in hand, so he's probably going to be the first one to make the report and see if we can get those stripers on the spoons and the mojo. So hopefully we'll get some reports with that soon. And the temperature's definitely dropping. The water's in the 60s now, so any day just gonna open up, and a fall run will be in full swing. Haven't heard much for the albacore action, the false albacore, or anything like that, but I'm sure they're around in their typical waters. We're usually down by like the breezy jetty and stuff. You could probably find those things. Matt, that's basically it for my area. Like I said, the fall's definitely in full swing. Get those kids out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Back to you, Matt.
Let's check in with Chris Ludwig. Chris?
Hey, thanks, Matt. What's going on, guys? So this last week, the fishing was pretty decent. I didn't get out as much as I would have liked to, but we're going to start off in the backwaters and the inlet of my local area. There's been bluefish invading, totally invading. They're a little bit over cocktail blue size, but they're there in large numbers, eating the spearing, the peanut bunker. I've seen some even attack some of these needlefish when the smaller ones are around. So that's a really good thing. Hopefully it keeps going in that direction and the fish get bigger and the bass start to join them. I've noticed squid around these pods of fish too, so hopefully they'll be coming up in more numbers, and that's another presentation I could use. Moving forward, my buddy Sean from Not Your Rods got himself a pretty nice tuna. He got a 270-pound tuna dressed, bluefin tuna, and I believe it was 79 inches. They got it on the Gina Ann charters out of Freeport, and they were using live bait. Beautiful fish, Sean, and thanks again for the rods, bud. They're always beautiful. Other than that, hope everyone's been well. See you all out there, and take care. Back to you, Matt.
Captain Mike Century has the latest from Staten Island.
Thanks, Tim and Matt. Hope all is well, guys. Well, guys, Mike Century here for Anglers of Legend Sportfish. And what a week for giant bluefin season. I had my buddy and client Gus on board Sunday. We were using live bunker, and I set him out with the balloons. And within literally 5 minutes of the rods being out, 2 rods goes off within 5 seconds of each other. One ended up being a really big giant bluefin tuna. It ended up putting a scratch on my gel coat on the boat when I had it next to it. And that was a reference point, which was a blessing in disguise for the measurement. And I remember Gus was yelling at me, telling me that the tail was too far out by the engines to get a proper measurement. So a quick release on that bad boy ended up being somewhere between 111 inches to 114 inches. The girth on that was just mind-boggling. It made the tuna that we just put on the boat, the 72.5 incher, which ended up weighing 218 pounds. It ended up putting that one in a category of a false albacore compared to a giant tuna. It was just mind-boggling how thick these giants are. They're like a big football. But yeah, it was a great day. 2 rods going off, 2 people on the boat. One tuna's pushing the boat that way, the other one's going this way. It was chaotic. So by 8 o'clock, and we were back at the marina around noon. So it was definitely a day to remember. So check out the pictures. Going back out again, hopefully soon. And if you need anything from me guys, tips, advice, pretty much 20-foot Seaguard, blue label, 150-pound fluorocarbon, minimum 20 feet of that stuff. Make sure you wipe it down with alcohol, every single drop. And much success to you guys. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Anglers of Legend Sportfish. Back to you, Matt.
Remember to like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tap on the bell to be notified instantly when we post a new video on YouTube. And of course, to be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dreamboat Contest and Coastal Kayak Clash. Check out this video's description on YouTube for all the related links and index for specific reports. Please support our correspondents by visiting their websites and social media pages. See you right here next week at thefisherman.com.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.